que en realidad refleja muchos elementos del subconsciente de un Occidente cada día más totalitario, cada día más tiránico, cada día más volcado en el control de las personas sujetas a su jurisdicción y las no sujetas, empeñado también.
Bueno, pues vamos con una información de última hora que acaba de llegar a la redacción de Negocios Televisión. Acompáñenme a ver esa portada que acaba de sonar durante la jornada de hoy. Y es que, atención, porque según estábamos mirando, jefes del chavismo habrían ofrecido a Donald Trump una vía para mantener el poder sin Maduro. Esta es la portada precisamente que está sonando durante estos momentos. Fíjense, el nuevo Herald que acaba de anunciar que jefes del chavismo habrían ofrecido a Donald Trump una vía para mantener el poder sin Maduro. Bueno, pues esa información que vamos a continuar actualizándoles sobre ella porque según el nuevo Herald ha informado que un grupo de altos funcionarios del gobierno venezolano, encabezado por la vicepresidenta Delcy Rodríguez y su hermano Jorge, el presidente de la Asamblea Nacional, habrían promovido discretamente en los últimos meses una serie de iniciativas destinadas a presentarse ante Washington como una alternativa más aceptable al régimen de Nicolás Maduro, según personas con conocimiento directo de las conversaciones, ha informado ya el nuevo Herald. Las propuestas canalizadas a través de intermediarios en Qatar habrían buscado convencer a sectores del gobierno de Estados Unidos de que un madurismo sin Maduro podría permitir una transición pacífica en Venezuela. Según las fuentes, mediadores cataríes presentaron a Estados Unidos dos propuestas formales este año, una en abril y otra en septiembre. Ambas delineaban posibles mecanismos de gobierno sin Maduro en el poder. En esos escenarios, Delcy Rodríguez habría actuado como figura de continuidad institucional, mientras que el general retirado Miguel Rodríguez Torres, actualmente exiliado y sin parentesco con los hermanos Rodríguez, habría encabezado un gobierno de transición. Este argumento central, según las fuentes, era que los hermanos Rodríguez representaban esa versión más digerible del llamado chavismo para Washington, ya que ninguno habría sido acusado por la justicia estadounidense de narcotráfico. Bueno, pues sin embargo, estos exfuncionarios del régimen, cuyos testimonios habrían sido utilizados por fiscales de Estados Unidos en casos relacionados como, por ejemplo, con el llamado cártel de los soles, y que habrían implicado ya a ambos hermanos en operaciones de apoyo logístico y de lavado de dinero. Bueno, pues nosotros vamos a poner la mirada precisamente a Donald Trump desde Estados Unidos, que está compareciendo en la Casa Blanca y que va a hacer ese anuncio sobre los medicamentos, en especial sobre la fecundación in vitro. Escúchenle.
Thank you very much. This is very exciting, what we're doing. I want to thank everybody for being here, and I want to thank this group of people. They're incredible people. We just had a call, as you know, with President Putin. I thought it was a very good call, so we'll talk about it maybe later. But it went very well. We're here today to announce a historic victory for American women, mothers, and families. With the actions I will outline this afternoon, will dramatically slash the cost of IVF and the treatment and many of the most common fertility drugs for countless millions of Americans. Prices are going way down, way down. I want to thank Libby Horn, who is the Senior Vice President of Fertility of EMD Serrano. So I want to thank you. Let's see here. That's what I thought. I thought it was you. Thank you, Libby, very much. And let me also thank the Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy, Jr., whose wife destroyed the people on The View yesterday. I have to say that. I'm not going to ever get into an argument with her. And you've decided, you learned that a long time ago, right? She did a great job, actually. Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick. Thank you, Howard. Secretary of Labor, Lori Chavez de Rima. Thanks, Lori. Howard, thanks. CMS Administrator, Dr. Mehmet Oz, who's fantastic guy, and he's done really well. FDA Commissioner Marty McCary. Thank you, Marty. Senator Katie Britt, who got me started with this whole thing when she called up to say there was a bad ruling by a judge, right? We got to do something, sir, and we did it very quickly. Probably in 24 hours it was done. Congressman Richard Hudson, a great guy, and his wife Renee. Richard, hi, Richard. And advocate Samantha Bush, who's a very respected person. For years, American couples struggling with infertility have faced crushing costs in their quest to start a family, and IVF is among the most expensive treatments of all. A single round of IVF in the United States can cost up to $25,000, can actually go a lot higher than that. And many couples require multiple rounds for a successful pregnancy. A major reason for these high prices is the excessive cost of the drugs involved. The number one fertility drug used in IVF is currently 700% more expensive in the United States than the rest of the world. And you know, we're ending all of that. It's called favored nations, and we're ending it, and we're ending it pretty fast. Nobody thought we'd be able to do it, and we've done it. Drugs are going to come down. Drug prices are coming down 400%, 200%, 600%, numbers that nobody's ever seen before. Great for Medicare, Medicaid, even Social Security. Great for everything, I think, Dr. Oz. So that's something that's, to me, it's very exciting. I'm bugging him and Bobby all the time. How are we doing with that? And we're doing really good, Bobby, right? It's really going good. Other countries are agreeing to it, because if they don't, we put tariffs on them, and then they agree. So it's amazing. It's amazing how that worked out. But as an example, in London, you'd buy a certain drug for $130, and even less than that, I guess $88 as of a count a month ago. And in New York, you pay $1,300 for the same thing. So now we're going to be paying, instead of $1,300, you'll be paying about $150, and they'll be paying $150 too. We're going to pay the same thing. Favored nations. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing, and we've been ripped off by the whole world for a long period of time. One of the most popular fertility drug regimens costs over $5,000 per cycle, as an example. Wow. Largely as a result of these unsustainable prices, 70% of the employers do not offer insurance that covers IVF. Therefore, most couples with fertility challenges are paying these costs entirely out of their own pockets, which is not really possible to do. Oh, look who we have. Look at that, the great Maria Bartiromo. I didn't know, did you get put into the regular pool pack? That's very good. Yeah, that's good. Nice to see you. I'm doing an interview with her in a little while. In the Trump administration, we want to make it easier for all couples to have babies, raise children, and start the families they've always dreamed about. That's why today I'm pleased to announce that after extensive negotiations, EMD Serrano, the largest fertility drug manufacturer in the world, has agreed to provide massive discounts to all fertility drugs they sell in the United States, including the most popular drug of all, the IVF drug, Gonal-F. So it's Gonal-F. Is that a proper pronunciation?
Very
Close
well
enough,
done.
right?
Very well done.
Gonal-F. As part of this agreement, EMD Serrano will list their fertility drugs online at trumprx.gov at very, very heavily reduced prices, prices that you won't even believe. And ultimately, that's because of the favored nations. In addition, the FDA will be working with the company to expedite review and approval of another common fertility IVF drug, and currently it's selling in Europe. It's Pergoveris. And that's a sound nice name. Pergo, Veris. Why can't you name them nice, simple names? Nice, easy names. Doesn't matter. If it works, that's all we care about, right? Upon approval, this drug would directly compete against a much more expensive option that currently has a monopoly in the American market, and this will bring down costs very significantly, and the other one's going to have to come down also. Finally, EMD Serrano has agreed that all future drugs and everything that it develops and sells in the United States will be offset at
Bueno, pues el presidente de Estados Unidos, Donald Trump, ahí le están escuchando, que está haciendo ese anuncio desde la oficina oval de la Casa Blanca. Bueno, pues acaba de decir que van a tomar esas medidas para ampliar la gran media de cobertura de la fertilidad. Dicen que ya esos medicamentos van a ser más baratos en Estados Unidos con respecto a Europa y que todos los países europeos están apoyándole porque sabe que si no va a poner más aranceles para ellos. Dice que el coste por el ciclo se va a reducir en un 73% y que la FDA va a acelerar esa revisión de otro medicamento común para la fecundación in vitro, especialmente. Además, dice que va a reducir esos costes de la fecundación in vitro con nuevas acciones y que los precios de los medicamentos de fertilidad van a caer drásticamente. Vamos a continuar escuchándole.
$20 trillion of investment, and we're already over 17 trillion, and that's in 8 months. Can you believe that? And he was at less than 1 trillion. And in addition to that, he had open borders, allowing millions of people to pour in. What an administration that was. Worst president in history, by far. As a result of these actions, the per-cycle cost of drugs used in IVF will fall by an estimated 73%. For American consumers, and the numbers are going to actually be very substantially higher as time goes by when it really kicks in. For most of, I mean, think of those numbers. You know, I told the story last time because we were with Pfizer, and Pfizer's doing something very similar. But I told them that my first term, I was so proud of myself because I was the first president in 28 years where drug prices went down for the year. And you know what? They went down 1/8 of 1%. But I was so 1/8 of 1%. Now I'm getting them down, Maria, 500, 600, 800%. In some cases, even more than that. It's hard to believe. But I was proud. I said, oh, wow, I'm the first one. 1/8 of 1%. And I was proud of that. Now I realize, and I called a news conference. Some of you were at that news conference, actually. And I said, ladies and gentlemen, congratulations. We've gone down by 1/8 of 1%. And now we're going down 500, 600, 700, 800%, Richard. So it's really something. For most administrations and all of the people involved in this kind of thing, this action would be a crowning achievement of their agenda for fertility health. But for us, it's really just the beginning. It's just the start. It's one of many things we're doing. Today, we're also taking historic steps to vastly expand access to insurance coverage for fertility care, including IVF, something that, as you know, was not covered. Effective immediately, for the first time ever, we will make it legal for companies to offer supplemental insurance plans specifically for fertility. That's never been done before. We're signing it in today with what we sign. Americans will be able to opt in to specialized coverage just as they get vision and dental insurance. They're going to get fertility insurance for the first time. So I don't know, I don't know how well these things are covered. I see the Democrats like to take credit for all of the things we do. We do the things that they take the credit. But I figure if you do enough of these, eventually people are going to figure it out. The Democrats have done nothing. This will make all fertility care, including IVF, far more affordable and accessible. And by providing coverage at every step of the way, it will reduce the number of people who ultimately need to resort to IVF because couples will be able to identify and address problems early. The result will be healthier pregnancies, healthier babies, and many more beautiful American children. It's a big factor. It's a big deal. I'm asking all employers to make these new fertility benefit options available to their employees immediately. The initiatives I've just announced are the boldest and most significant actions ever taken by any president to bring the miracle of life into more American homes. And I will say Katie was great. As you know, she's a great senator from Alabama. She's the first one that told me about this. I had not known too much about it, and we worked very rapidly together, didn't we, though?
Mr. President, you said
we had everything passed, and Alabama then took care of it and passed it. Within a week, everything was done. Really, it was something. So I want to thank Katie, Brett. There's no deeper happiness and joy of raising children, and now millions of Americans struggling with infertility will have a new chance to share the greatest experience of them all. So I'd like to thank all of the people that are here, and I think we'll start with Dr. Oz and Ms. Horn. We'll go through the list and we'll listen. And yesterday I did this, and I stood for about an hour and a half as people spoke. And I said, this time I'm sitting right there, and I'm going to watch you. I stood for an hour and a half like this. I said, you got to be kidding. Here we go. It was one after another, and it was wonderful listening to them. But I said, if I have to do this every day, Bobby, should I stand or sit? Thank you, Bobby. Please, Dr. Oz.
Okay. Mr. President, I'm going to jump in here real quick.
Bueno, pues Donald Trump, que acaba de dar paso a Dr. Oz para concretar este anuncio acerca de los medicamentos que acaban de decir Donald Trump, que va a reducir ese precio en los medicamentos para la fecundación in vitro. Dice que va a reducir ese coste dramáticamente y que el coste por ciclo se va a reducir concretamente en un 73%. Además, ha asegurado que la FDA va a acelerar esa revisión de otro medicamento común para la fecundación in vitro. Además, Donald Trump, que ha señalado que esos precios de los medicamentos van a continuar descendiendo y que se van a comparar más a los que actualmente tiene Europa. Dice que son muchos los países que están apoyando bajar ese precio de los medicamentos en Estados Unidos, porque precisamente Donald Trump cuenta con ese órdago que puede lanzar esos aranceles a otros países en el caso de que no le apoyen. Bueno, pues Donald Trump, que según estamos escuchando, va a reducir esos precios en los costes de la fecundación in vitro con nuevas acciones. Vamos a continuar escuchando a la doctora que está hablando ahora mismo en la Casa Blanca, pero antes informarles de la última hora que nos llega a Negocios Televisión, y es precisamente acerca de esa materia prima, ese metal precioso del oro, que acaba de alcanzar ese nuevo máximo histórico en más de los $4.300. Ahora mismo el oro, que ha subido al menos un 2,40% y que ha llegado a cotizar ya los $4.308,78 la onza de este metal precioso. Bueno, pues vamos a continuar escuchando al presidente de Estados Unidos, Donald Trump.
Thank you. Thank you for all you do to support families in this country and make a healthier environment and an easier one for us to grow the very most important thing. God bless.
So nice. Thank you.
So let's set the stage. Put it in perspective, 2 weeks ago, as President Trump alluded, a leading U.S. drug manufacturer came into this room and agreed to do something none of us thought was possible. A most favored nation agreement with numbers, again, inconceivable. Last week, a company from Europe, a global leader in the pharmaceutical sector, came to this office, made the same kind of commitment for most favored nation pricing, again, because the president insisted on it and was persistent, and he alluded to the fact that he was calling Secretary Kennedy and me quite a bit. He definitely was, with great insights into the process, and would not hold back. But I think what you're seeing today is something even larger. It's larger because we're now showing that MFN is a tool that can get other initiatives going as well. We are revealing perhaps the most important MFN opportunity at all, because it's about procreation. It's about babies. It turns out that MFN is a tool for a lot of things, and it goes without saying that you get the drug pricing down, but lots of other business necessities become possible when that occurs. So Secretary Kennedy and I, who's a wonderful leader, talk frequently about family. I think the reason he's a great leader, and the president as well, is because they have large families and they take pride in the joy that it gives us. But many families, as Senator Britt alluded, do not have the ability to have children. But it turns out that it's about 1 in 3 families, a much higher number, that don't have the number of babies they desire. They're under-babied. So This president committed to address that during the campaign, and he is delivering on that today in a way I don't think anyone thought was possible. We are opening the door with MFN pricing and tariffs that support it, Secretary Lutnick, with a new approach to make reproductive medicine more affordable for Americans. Now, I know what you're all thinking, and you're probably right. There are going to be a lot of Trump babies. I think that's probably a good thing. But it turns out the fundamental creative force in society is about making babies. It's about creating. And this country, the one that President Trump is leading so beautifully, has been a country of abundance, not scarcity. To have abundance, you have to address the fact that we had 3.6 million babies last year, which is beautiful, 3.6 million miracles. That's 500,000 less babies than we would ideally have had, even to replace our current population. Building on the success of the last 2 weeks, our team, led by the head of Medicare, Chris Klump, who's standing over there, and Ina Hernandez, have negotiated a spectacular MFN deal to reduce the cost of IVF drug prices by $2,200 a cycle. That's nearly half of the price that it had been. The most prescribed drug in this category in America, made by MD Serrano, is described over here. And you'll notice, President Trump, these are discounted from $242 to $10. I don't know what the math is on that. We can't even calculate it. It's a lot. It's too high to calculate without a more studied approach. But I give it up there because that number of $10 will apply for every American who earns less than $115,000 a year. That's 70% of the American people. The remaining folks who are able to make more will have to pay a tiny bit more, but it's still most favored nation pricing, no different from what the Europeans are willing to pay. Now, to make this deal happen, Chris and Inma have to do something special. They have to actually not just get the drug price down, but get the middlemen to let it go as well. And Mr. President, we've met with the middlemen in the past. They're now joining the MFN movement. I want to thank Express Scripts Freedom Pharmacy and then CVS's Specialty Pharmacy because they were willing to stand up and do the right thing for the American people by answering the president's call and slashing their prices. Now, this announcement also encompasses a remarkable move from Marty Makary, and Marty Makary is, of course, the leader of the FDA, but he has ongoing efforts to accelerate their approval of innovative medicines that will further reduce the price and make this whole process more seamless for the American people. Now, you're about to hear about a spectacular new program that's been alluded to, but one of the architects of that program, Heidi Overton, Deputy Director of the White House Domestic Policy Council, is going to take us through the exciting details of what this is going to offer for the American people, especially those who are in the workforce. But first, we think you should hear from Libby Horn. Libby's EMD Serrano's head of fertility. She brings both professional expertise and a personal connection to this work. She has 3 beautiful daughters, and she has personally benefited from reproductive medicine that has shaped her family, and her company made today's spectacular MFN pricing possible. Libby.
Thank you, Dr. Oz. Thank you, Mr. President. Today, we gather on this national stage to celebrate a historic step forward in expanding access to fertility treatments for those who need it most.
Bueno, pues ahora mismo que estaban hablando precisamente sobre este anuncio histórico que va a permitir la rebaja en los precios y en los costes también de la fecundación in vitro en Estados Unidos. Este anuncio que abarca este movimiento para acelerar también esa reducción en los precios de los medicamentos en Estados Unidos en comparación con los que tenemos en Europa y que van a ofrecer al pueblo estadounidense un coste por el ciclo de fecundación in vitro que se va a reducir en un 73%. Donald Trump, que ha avisado que los estadounidenses van a poder optar por una cobertura especializada en fertilidad y poder aumentar también esa tasa de natalidad. Donald Trump, que ha subrayado que van a reducir dramáticamente ese coste de la fecundación in vitro en Estados Unidos y, por cierto, que ha mencionado también esa conversación con Vladimir Putin que ha tenido durante la jornada de hoy y que después, posteriormente, ha dicho que van a ahondar más sobre ese asunto. Así que nos quedamos pendientes a esas palabras que posiblemente el presidente de Estados Unidos en esa rueda de prensa después de este anuncio pues conceda a los periodistas algunas palabras relacionadas con este asunto y que, por cierto, también veremos en escasos minutos esa llegada del presidente ucraniano Volodymyr Zelensky a suelo estadounidense cerca de Washington, D.C. Enseguida vamos a ver esas imágenes. De momento vamos a continuar escuchando esas palabras en la Casa Blanca.
partnership with the administration, we are proud to announce that Americans will have access to our leading IVF therapies for an 84% discount off list prices. That's amazing. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you. Thank you for making this possible.
Thank you very much. That's great. Fantastic.
For more than 40 years, EMD Serono has been a global leader in fertility. Our science was instrumental in the birth of the first IVF baby in the U.S., and we've helped to bring more than 6 million babies into the world since then. Our purpose is to help create, improve, and prolong life. That means discovering more medicines and bringing them to patients faster. FDA Commissioner McCary has made it a priority to ensure that Americans have access to the world's most innovative treatments as quickly as possible. To that end, EMD Serono is filing a new IVF therapy called Pergoveris for review under the FDA Commissioner's National Priority Voucher Program. If approved, Pergoveris would combine 2 key reproductive hormones in synergy designed to mimic reproductive physiology. This therapeutic option could mean...
Bueno, pues nosotros vamos a mirar a esa llegada del presidente ucraniano Volodymyr Zelensky justo precisamente en ese momento en el que ha llegado a Washington, D.C. El presidente ucraniano que se va a reunir durante la jornada de mañana con el presidente de Estados Unidos, con Donald Trump, quien también ha tenido esa llamada telefónica durante la jornada de hoy con su homólogo ruso, con Vladimir Putin. Bueno, pues Zelensky, ahí le vemos esa llegada, ese recibimiento por parte de Washington, D.C., la llegada del presidente ucraniano. Bueno, pues también precisamente él ha compartido en sus redes sociales que ya había llegado a Washington y que se va a reunir durante la jornada de hoy con sus representantes de empresa de defensa, de fabricantes de armas potentes que sin duda pueden reforzar la protección del pueblo ucraniano. Bueno, pues también ha dicho que van a hablar sobre el suministro adicional de sistemas de defensa aérea y que además se va a reunir con los representantes de empresas energéticas estadounidenses. Esa reunión que va a tener lugar durante la jornada de hoy y que mañana ya posteriormente se reunirá con el presidente de Estados Unidos y precisamente lo veremos aquí desde Negocios Televisión. Bueno, pues mientras tanto, Rusia, dice Volodymyr Zelensky, que apuesta por ese terrorismo contra su sector energético y que continúa haciendo ataques diarios. Dice que mientras tanto el pueblo ucraniano está trabajando para garantizar la resiliencia de Ucrania. Según ha confirmado en ese mensaje que están ustedes viendo reflejado en pantalla, dice que mañana tienen ya programada esa reunión con el presidente de Estados Unidos, con Donald Trump, y que esperan que el impulso para frenar ese conflicto entre Rusia y Ucrania tenga éxito, que haya tenido también ese éxito en Oriente Medio y que ayude a poner fin a la guerra de Rusia contra Ucrania. Bueno, pues también Volodymyr Zelensky, que compartía sus palabras precisamente haciendo referencia a Putin, que dice que sin duda no es más valiente que Hamas o cualquier otro terrorista. Volodymyr Zelensky, que destaca que ese discurso de fuerza y justicia inevitablemente también se volverá en contra de Rusia. Bueno, pues ahí están viendo esas palabras que ha compartido el presidente ucraniano. Dice que ya pueden ver que Moscú se apresura para reanudar ese diálogo en cuanto se entera de los Tomahawks, que por eso ha debido esa llamada que han tenido por teléfono el presidente de Estados Unidos y Putin durante la jornada de hoy. Bueno, pues ahí veíamos esas imágenes donde Volodymyr Zelensky llegaba ya a tierras estadounidenses en Washington, D.C. Ahí tenemos ese recibimiento por parte de Washington. Y nosotros vamos a continuar con la mirada puesta a ese despacho Oval porque en breves minutos empezará esa rueda de prensa y, por cierto, Donald Trump ha dicho que va a responder a preguntas acerca de esa buena llamada, que la califica él, que ha tenido con su homólogo ruso, con Vladimir Putin. Vamos a continuar escuchando este anuncio sobre la rebaja del coste de la reproducción in vitro en Estados Unidos.
And reduced chance of miscarriages, a 21% reduction in miscarriage rate. Leading physicians in the field have also relayed that these types of benefits significantly improve the patient and doctor experience, allowing both to focus on care rather than navigating the bureaucracy. These impacts are very personal. Here with us today are my good friends, Congressman Richard Hudson of North Carolina and his wife, Renee Hudson. Both have worked in public service for years, including Renee for all 4 years of your past administration, Mr. President, and they struggled with infertility. Today they have a beautiful son who's their pride and joy. He's an amazing boy. But they also suffered multiple losses throughout their fertility journey, something that is very common. Unfortunately, too many people go through the hard, arduous process of IVF and still result in a miscarriage. So today, your option is not only saving money, it's going to improve the quality of care significantly. This new benefit option simultaneously represents the greatest opportunity to expand coverage of IVF that the federal government has ever taken, while also improving the care delivered. Additionally, and very importantly, it gives employers maximum flexibility to design benefits that are consistent with their values. Put simply, this new fertility benefit option means lower costs and more healthy babies. So today, this announcement, we are realigning the industry towards the simple metric of more healthy babies at lower costs. I would now like to introduce Samantha Bush, the wife of NASCAR driver Kyle Busch, who's been a leading advocate for IVF access and affordability after your own infertility journey. Thank you, Mr. President.
Hello, everyone. My husband, Kyle, and I battled infertility for over a decade before being blessed with our 2 beautiful children, Brexton, who's 10, and our daughter, Lennox, who's now 3. But our journey was long and painful. We faced 6 rounds of IVF, multiple miscarriages, multiple failed cycles, and countless moments of heartbreak. We faced the roller coaster of hope and devastation that so many families know all too well. Through it all, we held on to faith, each other, and the belief that somehow, someday, God would turn our pain into purpose. We also saw firsthand the staggering financial burden that comes with infertility treatments. Sitting in the waiting room of our fertility clinic, we overheard another couple quietly say that money was the only thing standing in their way of having their family. In that moment, Kyle and I looked at each other, and we knew God was planting a seed in our hearts, a calling to take action. In 2015, that calling became the Bundle of Joy Fund, a nonprofit foundation dedicated to providing financial assistance to couples struggling with infertility. What began as a small act of faith has now grown into something far greater than we could have ever imagined. To date, we've granted over $2 million directly to individuals, helping them pay for their IVF treatments, and we've celebrated the birth of 108 beautiful babies through our fund. Thank you. Each baby is a living, breathing testament to hope, community, and God's grace. For every tear we cried, for every shot we gave, every doctor's appointment that ended in disappointment, Kyle and I knew there had to be a greater reason. This was God's plan for us, to use our journey to advocate, empower, and be the voice to those battling in silence. Over the past 12 years, we've worked hard to raise awareness, erase stigma, and bring hope to the 1 in 6 couples that will face infertility. Infertility can be incredibly isolating. It can leave you questioning your faith, your body, and your future. But it can also reveal a strength that you never knew you had inside of you. It can deepen love, it can bring couples closer together, and it unites people through a shared struggle. Our goal has always been to show others that they are not alone, that there is a powerful community of infertility warriors behind them. Today, seeing President Trump acknowledge infertility on a national stage is profoundly moving. It's no longer a whispered conversation behind closed doors. It is a recognized, validated struggle that so many families have to endure. His leadership reminds us that those in positions of power can make real and lasting changes for generations to come. Their willingness to bring this issue forward shows that they not only hear our community, but they truly care about us. Thank you, Mr. President, and to your family for shining a light on infertility and for standing by couples like Kyle and I, for standing by couples who only want to hear the words mommy and daddy, who want to watch our children open their Christmas presents on Christmas morning, who want to see the world anew through the joy in their kids' eyes. Your acknowledgement honors the power of family, faith, and love, the very values that make America the greatest country in the world. It's proof that when promises are made and promises are kept, lives are changed forever. Thank you, Mr. President.
Anybody else? Howard, would you like to say a couple? No. I was hoping you would say that. Bobby, come on up for a second.
Bueno, pues ya han terminado de hablar los testimonios y también los médicos, y enseguida va a comenzar esa rueda de prensa con Donald Trump, y que, por cierto, es probable que hable sobre esa llamada muy buena, como la califica Donald Trump, que ha tenido con Vladimir Putin. Bueno, pues en lo que respecta a este anuncio que acaba de hacer Donald Trump, quiere bajar esos precios de los medicamentos en Estados Unidos y favorecer a los ciudadanos de su país, y también que se equiparen con los precios de Europa. Además, ha anunciado hoy ese coste por fecundación in vitro, que cada ciclo va a verse rebajado al menos un 73%. Dice que las acciones, agradecen también esas acciones del presidente de Donald Trump, que ha establecido hoy que va a ampliar esa cobertura de la fecundación in vitro a casi 1 millón de familias más, y que va a reducir, por tanto, significativamente esos costes de la fecundación in vitro. Donald Trump, que también dice que están dando pasos históricos para ampliar considerablemente ese acceso a la cobertura de seguros para la atención de fertilidad, incluida la de la fecundación in vitro, y que pretende que sea con efecto inmediato, que por primera vez van a legalizar que las empresas ofrezcan planes de seguro complementario específicamente para la fertilidad. Además, ha anunciado que EMD Serono va a ofrecer grandes descuentos en todos los medicamentos para la fertilidad que vende en Estados Unidos, y dice que quieren facilitar en todo momento que las parejas estadounidenses tengan bebés y que críen hijos y formen familias que siempre han soñado. Enseguida vamos a escuchar esas palabras de Donald Trump. Nos marchamos a la Casa Blanca.
He's also recognized that there are people who are injured, people who are not living their life to the fullest, and he's addressing that. Last week, we made GLP drugs available at Most Favored Nation, and this week it's IVF. Oh, I want to thank you so much for that, Mr. President. I saw on an airplane the other day, you said that you didn't believe that you were going to get to heaven. You're doing God's work here. You've made peace in the Middle East, which is beyond anybody's imagination. And now you're giving millions of Americans a chance to have babies. And you're doing this while the government is locked down by the Democrats. But this administration has not stopped working for the American people. And that's because of your energy, your commitment, your vision, and I want to thank you for allowing me to be part of it.
And he's doing a great job. And by the way, Kyle is fantastic. So he's got a lot of courage. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't care. Howard, you and I would not be good at that. We'd go about 30 miles an hour, but we'd be safe. Anyway, so thank you very much. Any questions, please?
Mr. President, you posted earlier today.
Yeah, please.
Mr. President, this is a major campaign promise that you made. It was a big hot topic towards the end of the election. You're delivering on that again. I actually had a question for Secretary Kennedy or Dr. Heidi. Dr. Heidi, you said something that I thought was really important. You talked about how this coverage option, this benefit option, gives companies the maximum flexibility to design benefits consistent to their values. I was wondering if either you or the President could expand on that and talk about why that's an important thing to understand about this program.
Yes. Thank you. It's a great question. We think that employers are best situated to know what them and their employees want to contribute to in relation to their benefits. So employers are going to be able to decide how to cover the root causes of infertility, things like obesity, metabolic health, and other things that are impacting infertility. And also, if they want to encourage their employees to see certain types of doctors, and they can work with providers that are identifying the highest quality fertility providers. And so it puts them in the driver's seat. And our view is that we want employers to be the ones that can make those decisions, not the government. Thank you.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, it was.
That's a very good answer. Yeah, please, go ahead.
Mr. President, previously you did not seem to be bothered regarding Hamas cracking down on what you called gangs, actually, a couple of gangs. And today you issued a threat against Hamas on Truth Social. What has changed?
And what was said? Go ahead.
You said if they continue keep killing innocents in Gaza, that if that continues, the United States will go after them.
I issued a strong statement. That's right.
But they used to be gangs, and now you're saying innocents. What made you think they're innocents now?
Well, I'm looking at what's happening, and that wasn't the deal that was made, and we'll see what happens. It's calmed down. It's a tough neighborhood. We know that. We have a commitment from them, and I assume they're going to honor that commitment. I hope they do. And I understand they brought back some additional bodies today. It's a rough deal when you think of it, right? Very rough. And we have our hostages back completely. We were very lucky with that. But it's a tough situation. They brought back bodies today, as you probably know. But they also said they're going to behave. We're going to find out if they behave. If they behave good, if they don't behave, we'll take care of it. Yeah, please.
Following up on that,
I didn't say you. Your CNN fake news. Go ahead.
You said in your post that if they kept killing people in Gaza, we would have no choice but to go in and kill them. So do you mean U.S. forces would go in and take out Hamas?
No, I didn't say who would go in, but somebody will go in. It's not going to be us. We won't have to. There are people very close, very nearby that will go in. They'll do the trick very easily, but under our auspices.
Could I follow up? You also posted about your call with President Putin today, and you spoke about the meeting in Hungary with him. Do you have a timeline or a date set for when?
Yeah, I would say within 2 weeks or so, pretty quick. Marco Rubio is going to be meeting with his counterpart, as you know, Lavrov, and they'll be meeting pretty soon. They're going to set up a time and a place very shortly. Maybe it's already set up. They've already spoken. And I thought it was a very good phone call. I thought very productive. But I'll be meeting with President Putin, and we'll make a determination. Tomorrow I'm meeting with President Zelensky, and I'll be telling him about the call. I mean, we have a problem. They don't get along too well, those two, and it's sometimes tough to have meetings, so we may do something where we're separate but equal. We'll meet and talk parties, but this is a terrible relationship the two of them have, and it's one of those things. I've seen things that nobody would believe, but this is one of them. So we're going to be meeting in Hungary. Viktor Orban is going to be hosting, and it's really something that's time. Last week, over 7,000 people were killed. That's ridiculous. And you know, it doesn't affect our country. We're not losing people. We're not losing Bobby. We're not losing Americans, but they're losing Russians, Ukrainians, mostly soldiers, for the most part, soldiers. And we hope we're going to get it stopped. I thought this would be, because of my relationship with President Putin, I thought this would be very quick. And it's turned out to be, who would think I did Middle East before I did this? We did a total of 8 now, 7 and now 8. And we're going to make this number 9.
So you said you posted that there was great progress. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Was it a shift in Putin's tone? Was it something new he told you? Did he give you any message to give?
You're talking about the whole
President Zelensky tomorrow.
It just seems to me that, look, it's only a field. That's all I've done in my whole life. I've made deals. I know about deals. I do it well. I don't think any president's ever ended a war, frankly. One war, I did 8 of them, Maria, right? And but I don't know, did Bush ever end? Do you think Biden ended a war? Biden started wars because he was stupid. But do you think Biden ended any wars? No, I don't know of anybody that ended wars. I ended 8 of them. Now it's going to be 9. I think we're going to have this one done hopefully soon. But I'll be meeting him probably over the next 2 weeks. First, Marco is going to be meeting. And the vice president, as you know, is very much involved. The whole team is involved. Steve Witkoff will be involved. Yeah, please.
What did you tell them about the Tomahawks? Did you discuss the Tomahawk missiles? Did you discuss?
Well, we talked about it a little bit. Didn't say much, but I do say to you, we need Tomahawks for the United States of America too. We have a lot of them, but we need them. I mean, we can't deplete for our country. So, they're very vital. They're very powerful. They're very accurate. They're very good, but we need them too. So I don't know what we can do about that.
Why do you think a second meeting with Putin now will yield different results?
Well, I think Alaska actually set a stage, and that wasn't very long ago, but it set a stage. You have to understand, I came into this situation. I didn't start this war. This is a Biden deal. And I came into it, and it was a mess. It could have led to World War III. In my opinion, this could have led to World War III. That won't happen, but it could have. So I came in, this war was raging. When I left, this wasn't even a thought. For 4 years, nobody talked about it. I spoke to President Putin about Ukraine. It was the apple of his eye, but there was never going to be doing anything like this. And this all went because of some really bad decisions that were made. And look what you have. You have millions of people dead. You have just a horrible, horrible situation. I'm doing it to save souls. That's all I'm doing it for. I'm not doing it for us. We have an ocean between us. I'm doing it also to help Europe. They want to have it ended, but they're unable to do it. I'm able to do it. So I think we'll be successful. We'll save a lot of lives. It should have been done. Should have never started. This would have never happened if the election weren't rigged. This would have never happened. But it did happen. And I'll get it stopped. Okay.
What's your message?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you mentioned a $1,300 drug at the top of this. Were you referring to the weight loss drugs?
I was referring to Ozempic or I heard the fat loss drug.
So those are going to be $150 out of pocket for Americans?
They'll be much lower. They'll be much lower. Yeah, go ahead, please.
We have not negotiated those yet. We're going to be rolling these out over time. The GOP category of drugs, which includes Ozempic, have not been negotiated yet.
What's the timeline for that?
But it will. It'll come like everyone else.
Okay. Any timeline?
Pues ahí escuchábamos esas palabras del presidente de Estados Unidos haciendo referencia también a esa llamada, como estábamos esperando, que hiciera hincapié sobre este asunto que pues ahora mismo dice que va a reunirse con el presidente ucraniano, con Volodymyr Zelensky, durante la jornada de mañana y que tomarán una determinación sobre este conflicto entre Rusia y Ucrania, que ve posible que pueda llegarse a ese acuerdo de paz, especialmente después de haberlo hecho en Oriente Medio. Y dice que va a hablar con Zelensky precisamente sobre esta llamada que ha mantenido con su homólogo ruso, con Vladimir Putin. Dice que tienen ese problema de tener que estar hablando por separado, que es una situación horrible, pero que se va a encargar de que esto llegue a su fin, que se va a reunir con ellos en Hungría y que Víctor Orbán será ese embajador. Pero que a mirada de Donald Trump le parece ridículo que estén falleciendo, que se estén cobrando ya la vida de 7.000 personas al menos a la semana en este conflicto entre Rusia y Ucrania, y que eso que no, dice Donald Trump, que lo hace por salvar vidas y por mantener a salvo a Europa, que no le respecta a su parte al otro lado del Atlántico y que no se trata de personas estadounidenses las que estén falleciendo, pero que aún así él lo hace por salvar almas y por poner fin a este conflicto que se está cobrando ya la vida de 7.000 personas a la semana. También ha hecho referencia sobre este asunto de los Tomahawks para Estados Unidos. Dice que ellos como país también los necesitan, que tienen muchos de ellos, pero que necesitan más, que son muy poderosos y que de momento no sabe qué hacer al respecto. Bueno, pues vamos a continuar escuchando esas palabras de Donald Trump, que parece que continúa a hablar.
I will not say that she was recommended by the Teamsters. Can you believe it? And she's turned out to be a gem, an absolute gem. You're doing a great job. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, John Bolton was just indicted. Do you think we could see your deal-making skills applied to the government shutdown anytime soon?
Well, look, I mean, all we want to do is just extend. We don't want anything. We just want to extend, live with the deal that they had. They want to spend $1.5 trillion on illegal immigrants, and they want to destroy health care for everyone else, and it's crazy. It's crazy. People that are here illegally, they want to spend $1.5 trillion. So we're just not going to do it. No, we have to take care of our health care. Now, we're doing that today, and we're doing it with, favored nations, the most favored nations. Your costs are going to be dropping greatly, and I'm really happy that it's at the beginning of my administration, because I did insulin and got it down to like $25, but it doesn't kick in. It didn't kick in for 2 years by statute, so it couldn't kick in. And I said, boy, I hope I win this election, because if I don't, somebody else is going to take credit for it, Bobby. And sure as can be, Biden said he didn't even know what the hell was happening, and it was a hard thing for me to do. I got insulin way down. What was it before that? It was just massive. It was impossible to afford. And sure as can be, because it was statute, it couldn't have been earlier. I said, boy, this falls into the next administration. I better win. And all of a sudden, I watched this Biden taking credit for something that I did. And on other things, too. We had a lot of things kick in. So the nice part about this is at the beginning of our administration. So I think we're going to see the fruits of our labor. And I hope on our other situation that we've talked so much about, autism, I hope we're going to see some very good results based on the recommendations that we made. And, we have time to watch those results now.
President Trump was just indicted by a grand jury in Maryland. Do you have a reaction to that?
I didn't know that. You tell me for the first time, but I think he's, a bad person. I think he's a bad guy. Yeah, he's a bad guy. It's too bad, but that's the way it goes.
The case against him?
That's the way it goes, right? That's the way it goes. Will I what?
Have you reviewed the case against him?
No, I haven't. But I just think he's a bad person. Okay, anybody else?
What's the timeline for the IVF drug through the National Commission on Priority Review voucher? Dr. McCary?
What do you think, Doctor?
Yeah. So, first of all, the National Priority Voucher Program says we're going to proactively at the FDA look for amazing treatments like this IVF treatment. We're going to reach out to the companies, and if it's in line with the president's national priorities, we're going to put those drugs at the front of the line and get a decision out in weeks instead of a year. And so today we announced 9 drugs that are going to be recipients. These are products where the manufacturing is going to be in the United States, or it's meeting a large unmet public health need, like a diabetes drug we announced today, or it is a product where you're going to see an affordability phenomena because the prices are getting equalized in line with the president's most favored nation status goal.
Wow, that's good. Why didn't I have him speak? He was so could have saved a lot of time. Thanks, Manny. I'm not surprised. Yeah, please.
Yes, thank you, President. So Senate Majority Leader John Thune today said he'd like to proceed with a bill which would put sanctions on Russia. What's your thought on that?
Well, we're going to see. He doesn't know about the call yet. I'm going to speak to him later. And it was subject to what I wanted to do. And so we'll see what happens. We may have, this may be such a productive call that we're going to end up, we want to get peace. We want to stop the killing. 7,000 people a week. Can you believe it? We want to stop the killing. So I'm going to speak to him and the speaker, Mike Johnson. I'll speak to them a little bit later, and I'll tell them about this, and we'll make the right determination. I'm not against anything. I'm just saying it may not be perfect timing. It could happen in a week or two, but it's at my option, as you know.
Right, but did President Putin try to dissuade you from selling Tomahawk missiles?
Well, of course. What do you think he's going to say? Please sell Tomahawks?
No, but did he give him
Is he going to say, please sell those Tomahawks? I really appreciate it. I did actually say, would you mind if I gave a couple of thousand Tomahawks to your opposition? I did say that to him. I said it just that way. He didn't like the idea. He really didn't like the idea. No, I said it that way. You have to be a little bit lighthearted sometimes, but no, he doesn't want Tomahawk. Tomahawk is a vicious weapon. It's a vicious, offensive, incredibly destructive weapon. Nobody wants Tomahawk shot at them.
Typically ask you not to provide Tomahawks?
So, wouldn't anybody? I mean, it's been in the news. Who wouldn't do that? CNN. Who wouldn't do that? You know? Do you think he's going to say, I'd love to have Tomahawk sent my way? I don't think so. Maria, we have one of the great stars of television here, and she's an incredible person. And She's just an amazing woman who she got it all right. She got the Russia hoax right. She got everything. Would you have a question?
Yes, Mr. President. I would ask you why this was so important to you, IVF, and why was autism so important to you? What are you trying to achieve?
Well, autism is like a whole different thing. When you look at, it was 1 in 20,000. Now it's 1 in 12. If you look, Bobby, we have different numbers, but 1 in 12, 1 in 28, 1 in 32. There's a couple of different numbers out there, but it's 1 in a very, very different number than it used to be. It used to be 1 in 20,000, and that was not that long ago, 20 years ago or so. And now they had something for boys, for babies, baby boys. It's 1 in 12. I heard 1 in 10, Bobby. I heard another one, different lists. But when you think of that, it's not even sustainable, but there's something artificial. When that happens, that's not like a natural. And then you have certain groups of people that literally don't have autism, and they're not taking some of the things that we're taking. So we're working very hard. And on IVF, it's just that I have friends, including Katie, that called me and they told me the importance of it. I wasn't that familiar with it. Now I think I've sort of become the father ever since I heard. There was a bad decision in Alabama where a judge wanted all clinics to be immediately closed, right? And Katie called up and you said you were pretty strongly attacked by your friends that you didn't even know were involved with IVF, right?
You had people that had grandkids, people who had gone through IVF themselves telling their story.
Yeah.
There are people that cook out there.
Tell what you did when you heard from your friends. You said this was not, they almost became violent. Right?
Yeah, I told him, I said, Mr. President, we need you. We need your voice in this conversation. We need the directive. We need the strong support because there are millions of people out there, moms and dads, wanting to bring life into the world. And you had people, the chilling effect.
Pues ahí escuchábamos esas palabras de Donald Trump. Dice que en todo momento quiere llegar a un acuerdo de paz para este conflicto entre Rusia y Ucrania y que a eso se deben esas conversaciones continuas que está teniendo tanto con el presidente de Rusia, con Vladimir Putin, como con el presidente ucraniano que tendrá mañana con Volodymyr Zelensky. Además dice que va a reunirse con ellos cara a cara, que lo hará en Budapest en las próximas 2 semanas. Donald Trump, que ha asegurado en la pregunta que le han hecho los periodistas acerca de los Tomahawks, dice que a Putin no le gustó la idea de usar Tomahawks en Ucrania. Eso acaba de decir Donald Trump. Dice que le preguntó a su homólogo ruso qué pensaba sobre ese envío de misiles Tomahawk por parte de Estados Unidos a la oposición y que a Putin no le gustó la idea. Bueno, también Donald Trump, que ha asegurado durante la jornada que se va a reunir con Putin en las próximas 2 semanas, que es lo más seguro que lo haga, que por él terminaría ese conflicto y llegaría a ese acuerdo de paz lo antes posible, porque se está cobrando ya la vida de 7.000 personas que no son estadounidenses, pero que él quiere frenar esas muertes para poder llegar a ese acuerdo de paz y que terminen de cobrarse esas vidas. Vamos a seguir escuchando a las palabras de Donald Trump.
Again with Marco and with JD and a few of the people on the war, and we're doing a lot of other things also. The economy is unbelievable. It really is. It's been incredible. And I think one of the great numbers that I've ever heard, think of it, over $17 trillion being invested in our country. And when you think of, compare that to the last administration, but really compare it to any administration, compared to any country. There's never been a country with anything like that. That's in a period of 8 months. And we've already broken every record possible. There's never anything even close. So we'll go back to all of that. Prices are down. Oil is down. We're down $58 a barrel. We're going to be hitting $2 for gasoline. I think we're going to be at $2. And the previous administration, they were at $4 and $5. They were going up much higher. And then they swung back into my things, but they didn't swing back properly. They were very, very late. They really blew it. We had it really going in the right direction. They came and took everything out, and it's incredible. I'll never forget. They lost control of the price of gasoline, of oil. They totally lost control, Howard, and then they went back immediately. Well, let's go back to Trump. But by that time, It was too late, and they didn't go back because the leases and everything else. They didn't do what they had to do. And they wouldn't know. They really didn't know how to. But we could be hitting close to $2 a gallon. I'd love to break it if we could, but we could be. And you know, when that comes down, everything else has been coming down. Groceries are down. The price of things are down, and honestly, the simplicity is if you can get oil down. It's such a big category, everything follows. So just about everything follows. And we are working on beef, and I think we have a deal on beef that's going to bring the price of beef. That would be the one product that we would say is a little bit higher than we want it, maybe higher than we want it, and that's going to be coming down pretty soon too. We did something, we worked our magic. But groceries are down, and energy is down, electricity is way down. We have the prices coming down for people. They were abused for 4 years by the Biden administration. Thank you very much, everybody. We'll see you soon. Thank you. Thank you.
Changes to the IRS.
Thank you, press. Let's go. Right on, you guys. Thank you, guys. Sorry. Thanks, guys. Thank you, guys.
Bueno, pues acaba de terminar esa ronda de preguntas en el despacho Oval, en la Casa Blanca, con el presidente de Estados Unidos, con Donald Trump. Bueno, pues finalizaba diciendo que los precios en general están bajando, que están disminuyendo en este segundo mandato de que comenzó el 5 de noviembre de 2025. Bueno, pues dice que todos los precios están bajando, la comida, el aceite, el petróleo, y que este último le gustaría bajarlo hasta el 2%. Bueno, pues Donald Trump, que como estábamos comentando, ha asegurado ya que a Putin no le gustó la idea de usar los Tomahawks en Ucrania. Dice el presidente de Estados Unidos que estuvo preguntándole a su homólogo ruso que qué pensaba sobre el envío de los misiles Tomahawks por parte de Estados Unidos a la oposición, y que a Putin no le hizo mucha gracia esta idea. Bueno, Trump ha señalado que no le sorprendía que Putin se opusiera a que Ucrania adquiriera esos Tomahawks, que son armas muy feroces y ofensivas que nadie quiere que les disparen, pero que también Donald Trump ha dicho que son armas que son necesarias, que ellos quieren tenerla, Estados Unidos, porque son muy poderosas. Bueno, pues palabras también a destacar de Donald Trump durante la jornada de hoy, que en esa rueda de prensa hemos visto cómo dice que se va a reunir con Putin después de esa llamada que ha mantenido durante la jornada de hoy, que se va a reunir con Putin en las próximas 2 semanas y que lo va a hacer en Budapest, en Hungría, y que tendrá lugar dentro de aproximadamente 2 semanas. Ha declarado que Marco Rubio se va a reunir también con su homólogo, con el ministro de Asuntos Exteriores ruso, con Sergei Lavrov, y que lo van a hacer muy pronto. De momento no se conoce ni fecha ni lugar, pero que en escasos momentos ya encontrarán y difundirán ese anuncio. Dice que han anunciado que ambos funcionarios se van a reunir antes de esa cumbre que tendrá el presidente de Estados Unidos con Putin. Además, el presidente ha señalado que es necesario organizar encuentros por separado, por un lado con Vladimir Putin, como ha hecho durante la jornada de hoy a través de esa llamada de teléfono, y como va a hacer durante la jornada de mañana con el presidente ucraniano, con Volodymyr Zelensky, porque dice que es imposible tener una conversación trilateral debido a que no se llevan muy bien entre ellos. Bueno, pues también destacarles que Donald Trump ha hecho referencia a la situación que está viviendo ahora mismo Hamás. Dice, también había compartido precisamente en ese Truth Social, diciendo que se tienen que desmilitarizar Hamás, y que en el caso de que no lo hagan, no duda en que Estados Unidos acuda para hacerlo. Dice que supone que Hamás va a honrar ese acuerdo sobre Gaza, y que va a honrar ese acuerdo que pudieron alcanzar para poner fin a esa guerra en Gaza, y que va a devolver a todos los cuerpos de los rehenes israelíes fallecidos, que durante la jornada de hoy ya habían recibido, por cierto. Dice que es un barrio muy difícil y que tienen el compromiso de ellos, de Hamás, y que supone que lo cumplirán. Pero en el caso de que no lo hagan, Donald Trump lanzaba esa advertencia durante la jornada de hoy. Dice que se lo tienen que pensar muy bien, porque Estados Unidos podrá entrar en cualquier momento y atacar en el caso de que se salten ese acuerdo de paz. Bueno, pues nosotros así es como nos despedimos la jornada. Por cierto, que el oro tocaba esos máximos históricos, ya por encima de esos 4.300 la onza de el oro. Bueno, pues así es como nos despedimos nosotros durante este cierre de Wall Street. Muchísimas gracias por estar de nuevo aquí en Negocios Televisión en su casa. Mañana volvemos con más información a partir de las 7 de la mañana con mi compañero Manuel Velázquez y a partir de las 8 con el CEO de Negocios Televisión, con José Antonio Bizner. No se lo pierdan. Mañana más información.
Mírale, esperando a que pase el próximo trend. Pues qué penita, que ya pasó. Muévete a la velocidad del mercado. Entra en la era de la información con Informa, líder en información empresarial. Tenemos la información de 600 millones de empresas en todo el mundo. Descúbrelo en Informa.es.
La alarma roja alrededor de la fotografía de lo que está sucediendo. ¿Dónde? En Argentina. 4 tweets de Scott Bessent. Todas las opciones para la estabilización están sobre la mesa. Todas. Y hará lo que sea necesario. Make Argentina great again. Argentina volverá a ser. ¿Qué ha pasado en Argentina? ¿No estaba Milei siendo el gurú del mercado? ¡Wow! Milei, ¡pum! Milei. ¿Qué carajos está pasando en Argentina? ¿Es que va a intervenir en Argentina Estados Unidos? ¿La economía argentina está a punto del desastre? ¿Está al borde del precipicio? Estados Unidos puede evitar que Milei pase a la historia, no por rescatar y poner a la economía argentina en órbita lunar positiva, sino por meterle un estallido a la economía argentina que no tiene nombre. Ha vuelto a encontrar máximos históricos, es el gran valor refugio del 2025, 24 y vamos a ver si no el 26, 27 y 28. Se llama el oro. Argentina, oro. Guerra de Ucrania, oro. Oriente Medio, oro. Riesgo de un crack del 29, oro. Oro, oro, oro y oro. Es que no quiero otra cosa. En el caso de que drones o cazas entren en suelo europeo, serán derribados. El derecho de defenderse. El país tiene derecho legítimo, lo está avisando en Naciones Unidas. Tiene derecho legítimo a defenderse. ¿Es esa la chispa que le falta a la guerra de Ucrania para convertirse ya en una guerra global y no en una guerra proxy? Es decir, estamos en el previo a la escalada de las escaladas. Buenos días, 8 de la mañana, ¿han desayunado bien?
Si estás viendo esta cadena es que te gusta estar bien informado y te gustan mucho los mercados financieros.
No, pero no critiquéis. Aquí vemos todo lo contrario. Os oía todos los días.
Esto lo hacen estupendamente.
Es un cachondeo. Pero lo que está claro es que ahora mismo
traéis a invitados excepcionales.
Good afternoon, Cathy Booth.
¿Puede privatizarse la democracia? Quizá es esa la pregunta que nos tenemos que hacer todos. Un globalismo que afecta a todo lo que sustenta nuestras vidas. Realidad económica tangible, necesaria de analizar. Esa necesidad de analizar el globalismo desde el punto de vista absolutamente económico, tangible y real.
Muy buenas noches, vamos con esta noticia de última hora después de escuchar las palabras del presidente de Estados Unidos, Donald Trump. Y es que atención, porque precisamente él ha dicho que a Putin no le gustó la idea de usar los Tomahawks en Ucrania. El presidente de Estados Unidos, Donald Trump, que según ha dicho, le preguntó a su homólogo ruso qué pensaba sobre el envío de misiles Tomahawk por parte de Estados Unidos a la oposición y que a Putin no le gustó la idea. Trump ha señalado que no le sorprendía que Putin se opusiera a que Ucrania adquiriera esos Tomahawks, ya que son armas feroces y ofensivas que nadie quiere que les dispare con ellas. Bueno, pues cuando le preguntó sobre el llamado del líder de la mayoría del Senado, John Thune, que para que Congreso avance en la oposición de sanciones a Rusia, el presidente de Estados Unidos dijo que Thune no fue informado sobre su llamada con Putin el día de hoy y que señaló que aunque no está en contra de las sanciones, ahora puede que no sea el momento perfecto para tal medida. Escuchen las palabras de Donald Trump, donde dijo que a Putin no le gustó la idea cuando el presidente de Estados Unidos le habló sobre ese envío de misiles Tomahawk por parte de Estados Unidos a la oposición. Escuchen.
President Putin tried to dissuade you from selling Tomahawk missiles.
Well, of course. What do you think he's going to say? Please sell Tomahawks? Is he going to say, please sell those Tomahawks? I really appreciate it.
Y nosotros nos vamos a contarles la noticia sostenible del día de la mano de Nordea Asset Management.
Nordea Asset Management le ofrece la noticia ESG del día. Nordea Asset Management.
La Consejería de Sanidad, Presidencia y Emergencias de la Junta de Andalucía se suma a la conmemoración del Día Mundial de la Alimentación, que se celebra el 16 de octubre, con ese llamamiento a tener una alimentación saludable y sostenible como elementos claves para prevenir enfermedades y mejorar la calidad de vida. Con motivo de esta efeméride, la estrategia de promoción de vida saludable en Andalucía, impulsada por la Dirección General de Salud Pública y Ordenación Farmacéutica, ha puesto en marcha una campaña en redes sociales que pone el acento en consejos sencillos y prácticos como beber agua como bebida principal, aumentar el consumo de frutas y verduras, al menos 5 raciones diarias variadas y de temporada, consumir legumbres y elegir cereales integrales y emplear técnicas culinarias tradicionales saludables como en cocción, al vapor, a la plancha o al horno.
Nordea Asset Management le ha ofrecido la noticia ESG del día.
Bueno, pues nosotros vamos con otra noticia de última hora. Atención, porque John Bolton, el exasesor de Seguridad Nacional de Donald Trump, ha sido acusado precisamente durante el día de hoy. Ese exasesor de Seguridad Nacional del presidente de Estados Unidos, Donald Trump, John Bolton, que fue acusado durante la jornada de hoy por su manejo de documentos clasificados por un gran jurado federal en Maryland y que lo han informado ya así varios medios. Es importante porque Bolton se ha convertido en un feroz crítico de Trump desde que dejó la primera administración y ha advertido repetidamente sobre el uso del poder del gobierno por parte del presidente para atacar a esos enemigos políticos. La acusación contra Bolton surge tras una orden de allanamiento que alega que utilizó una cuenta de correo electrónico privada pirateada por una entidad extranjera y que compartió erróneamente información clasificada. A pesar de los enfrentamientos de Bolton con Trump, la administración Donald Trump sostuvo que su investigación no tenía motivaciones políticas. El FBI allanó la casa de Bolton en Maryland en agosto, durante lo que el vicepresidente J.D. Vance llamó las primeras etapas de una investigación en curso. Bueno, pues en ese momento Vance, que dijo que no lo estaban atacando en absoluto, sino por ser un crítico de Donald Trump, quien llamó a Bolton un verdadero delincuente. Bueno, pues Trump, que ha revocado ya esas protecciones de seguridad de Bolton en enero a pesar de las amenazas de muerte de Irán. Y asegurarles también que la administración Donald Trump además acusó en septiembre al exdirector del FBI, a James Comey, como otro crítico del presidente. Comey, que fue acusado de hacer declaraciones falsas al Congreso y obstruir la investigación sobre la injerencia rusa. Bueno, pues esa es la noticia de última hora que nos llega. John Bolton, el exasesor de Seguridad Nacional, que ha sido acusado durante la jornada de hoy por un jurado federal en Maryland. Pues nosotros vamos a despedirnos ya por hoy. Mañana volvemos con más información de última hora, minuto a minuto, y con esa reunión a la que estamos pendientes de Donald Trump y el presidente de Ucrania, Volodymyr Zelensky, que ya llegaba a suelo estadounidense. Que pasen muy buena noche.
El auténtico valor es la tranquilidad. Resguarda lo que es tuyo con activos que trascienden el tiempo. Oro, plata, platino, paladio, rodio, osmio. Silver Gold Patrimonio te acompaña para que construyas un legado inteligente. Diversifica hoy. Protege tu mañana. silvergoldpatrimonio.com. Metales preciosos. Patrimonio brillante.
Saltas al vacío pensando que no tienes red. Los problemas del negocio se confunden con los de tu vocación. Y necesitas liberarte de las preocupaciones del día a día. De las nóminas, las hipotecas, los alquileres, seguros, declaraciones. De pelear con todos y con todo. Aquí hay un banco que piensa en ti.